Hello, 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 beautiful lights. Yay, wonderful to be here. Wonderful to have you here. As most of you know, I'm Heather Corbett and I'm a medium and spiritual advisor and absolutely love my calling. Yes, calling. I'm going to get a drink of water. So I have read, I don't know if you've read, hey, oh, thanks, Samantha. Thank you. I appreciate that. So this is funny. Okay, let me just share with everybody else too. I just did a Facebook Live over in the VIP group, and the link is above if you'd like to join us. And I was wearing the same shirt, and I had the same background. So then what is funny is that in the meantime, right, between these two videos, I went upstairs because my husband and son are making me cookies, which is amazing. So there's cookies upstairs. And so I had to go upstairs and I had to sample, of course, right? I had to sample. So I was upstairs between videos getting my cookies. So delicious. So I'm on a special diet, so I'm not able to have like typical flour or sugar or that type of thing. And so it's a work in progress to try to find like the right ingredients to put them all together. So I had a cookie in between videos, just FYI. So I know it was so sweet. I was like, oh, so hi Paulette, yay, so sweet. So I'll just wait a little bit, helping you guys hop on, get your notifications. And yeah, so as I was sharing, I'm reading The Happiness Advantage, and Shawn Achor, he talks about our jobs, let's say, being work or being a career or being a calling. And so, hi April, hi Hope, wonderful to have you here, wonderful to have you here. Oh my goodness gracious. So I was just thinking about Aubrey, oh my gosh, and I just saw her pop on, boom, that's so funny. I was setting up my camera, thinking about Aubrey, and there she is. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, loves. Mwah. Wonderful to have you here. Yay. Keep putting the comments in. Let me know you're here. I absolutely love hearing from you. Sometimes people kind of sneak in the back door, so I don't exactly see who's coming on. And so when I see your comment, I'm like, oh, you're here? Yay! Then it really, truly turns into a party. Hi, love. Hi, Aubrey. I kid you not. I was putting the camera up on the tripod and I was like, Aubrey, right? And then when you came on, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope you are well, beautiful light. I hope you're well. So Shawn Achor, he has written The Happiness Advantage, and he is a professor at Harvard and he studies happiness. Yeah, happiness. And so he says that we can have work, career, or a calling. And work is just to get your paycheck, right? A career is great. It's just there's some added stresses there. Right? A calling is your passion. So a calling is your passion. And so for me, being a medium, being a spiritual advisor, that is truly my calling. I absolutely love it. And it's funny because I'll come home from, let's say work, isn't that awesome, Aubrey? Right? And I'll come home from doing spiritual advising or doing mediumship, doing readings, past life stuff, whatever we do that day. And I'll come home and I'll have so much energy. And my husband, Dave, he's just like, whoa, you had a good day. And I'm like, yes, because I'm doing my calling, right? That's why. And it gives me so much energy. It's incredible. Working with spirit gives you energy. I'm just saying. Hi, Carly. Wonderful to have you here. Yay, yay, yay. So yeah, so this live is all about trusting in spirit. And even to the point that as I was putting the camera up on the tripod, thinking of Aubrey, right? Hi, beautiful. Trusting that maybe I didn't realize I would see you so quickly, but I was like, maybe I'll see her at the store, or maybe I'll see her, somewhere else. And so that happened really quickly. That happened within minutes, but I was trusting that I was going to see you somehow, Aubrey. So I love that. Hi, beautiful. Hi, Heidi. Wonderful to have you here. I absolutely love this. So I'm just going to get rocking and rolling. Go ahead and say you're here, and we're going to talk about trust in spirit. And this is one of my favorite topics. And, go ahead and put in the comments, various things that you're thinking, questions you have, whatever sparks you, okay? Just whatever sparks you. And I will be asking for some of that interaction just to see what works for you all. Hey, Lucretia, wonderful to have you here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Yay, Aubrey, yay. I would love to actually see you soon as well. I was thinking that, I'm like, when am I going to see her? I didn't think it was going to be within minutes. So hi, Mindy, wonderful to have you here. Wonderful to have you here. Yay, now it's turning into a party, I'm just saying. So absolutely wonderful to have you all here. So again, this evening's topic is trust in spirit. And Mindy, I'm not sure if you heard, but I was thinking of Aubrey, who's here, as I was putting my camera up on the tripod. And so I was trusting I was going to see her eventually, or, run into her or something like that. And within a couple minutes, she came onto this Facebook Live, right? And Aubrey, I don't know the last time I have seen you. So it's just like, wow, that's the synchronicity that makes these things happen, right? Hi, Jacqueline, wonderful to have you. I love watching you guys hop on. It usually does take about 5 to 10 minutes for the Facebook notifications to go out. So always interesting. So with trusting in spirit, it's really, I feel like first and foremost, it's acknowledging. And it's acknowledging spirit. It's acknowledging that the universe has our back. It's acknowledging that we have intuition, that we have what it takes to be able to follow that inner voice, to follow our gut, that type of thing. And so I feel like first and foremost, it truly is acknowledgement that this stuff is happening, okay? And so you can put in the comments, like, what do you call it? What do you call when you get these intuitive hits? Or what do you call it? A lot of times I'll say I'm following spirit. And I know that other people would say I was following my intuition. I was following my inner voice. My dad, very, very gifted. He was so cute when I was growing up. He'd always say, what does your gut say? Isn't that funny? I'm like, my gut says I need a cookie. Like, come on, Dad. So anyway, but it was, sorry, but really it was for me to recognize my own intuition. And I loved having that. Hi, Christy. Hi, Christy loves. So again, we're just sharing, like, what do you call it? And, in the comments. So Christy, we're talking about, what do you call, those intuitive hits, or that inner voice, or following spirit? And a lot of times, again, I do use that phrase, like spirit said, that type of thing. And I feel like I say that because there's a lot of times there's spirits all around me, right? So my loved ones, other people's loved ones are pretty close to me. And so that's why I'm saying that. Again, kind of growing up, we talked about, it was more like an intuition thing. Not that it's separate by any means. We're getting information, and that's what's so good about acknowledgement, is we're getting information. And I just feel like when working with my various spiritual advising students, some people, it's really sweet. I have this one gal in Washington. She's like, she comes to see me once every 3 months, and she's like, I need my tune-up. And I'm like, okay. And I absolutely love working with her. And we do check in about her spiritual gifts and what is happening there. And so I love that, because I just feel like when I work with this variety of people, we all have different ways of gathering information, right? And I think of that too, when I was a professor, that it was all about needing to make sure I was teaching to everybody's learning style. And so if everybody has a different learning style, not everybody has a different learning style, I mean, we're clusters and that kind of thing, but if a lot of people have different learning styles, then we're going to have different ways of learning. We're going to have different ways of obtaining information, right? Perfect. Hope, boom, bada boom. Look at her go. I need like instruments here, right? So Hope, yeah, we are all naturally intuitive. And so with that recognition, first and foremost, it comes to acknowledgement, like just acknowledging. And so I loved that. Hope, that was so perfect. Like, again, I'm going to do the little ding, like perfect. Really, we are all intuitive. Okay. And so again, if you have a catchphrase of hello, hello, welcome, welcome. If you have a catchphrase of what this is, go ahead and drop it in the comments that I always say trust in spirit. and that I'm following Spirit. If for you, hi Angelica, wonderful to have you here. If for you it's following that inner voice, go ahead and drop that in. And what this does by being able to say it, it actually allows us to amplify it, okay? And so a lot of times I'm talking about Spirit, I'm talking about loved ones, I'm talking about intuition, and that actually amplifies it. So go ahead and put in the comments like that, what you call it, okay? What you call this. And I love how Hope said we are all naturally intuitive. Absolutely. So first and foremost, to be able to acknowledge. And with acknowledgement, really what it is a lot of times looking at synchronicity. So looking at synchronicity and looking at how everything lines up, okay? How everything lines up, and all of a sudden you are in the perfect place and you're running into somebody you had just been thinking about, or you are, let's say you have been thinking for a little while, like, I really want to start this new career. And so then all of a sudden you see a billboard that is emphasizing that career, being able to tell you and guide you that, yes, go ahead and go into that career, okay? And so synchronicity is something to really, really pay attention to. And I feel like, coming back to Hope's comment, we're all naturally intuitive, and also, we're not always picking up everything, right? So we're just going through life. And I almost feel like with that, we're not necessarily picking up everything we need to. And I was sharing with a spiritual advising student this morning, and we were talking about acknowledging that, right? And I feel like sometimes if not acknowledging it, then we think it's not happening. Okay, so, but it is happening. We're just not acknowledging that it's happening. And so with that, one of the things that I was sharing with her was, so I sing at a church on Sunday morning. So I'm in the choir. It was amazing. It's called descants. And so usually if there's one descant for the sopranos, I'm in the soprano section, that's like a humdinger, right? There was 3 descants. So that's when we sing way up in the rafters. It was amazing. It was beautiful. I love singing. And so anyway, at one point, I just thought, Spirit just said that this gal, what's her name? Janie, she was going to come with the flowers. And I just heard him say that. Somebody said that, and somebody said, step aside. So this is all my loved ones talking to me, or my intuition talking to me, right? Hi, Nichelle. I love you. I'm like, I love you. Look at all those cute little kisses. I love it. Hi, Holly. I see you coming on. And so, but I didn't necessarily acknowledge, I stepped aside, right? And then there she was, and I just went on with my business. And I thought, you know what? I need to really almost like thank Spirit, like show Spirit, show my intuition that I'm acknowledging it, that I see it, that it's in motion. And so I really thought about it later, and I thought, gosh, I just kind of stepped out of the way. I just kind of went through the motions. And I needed to also like acknowledge it and love it and just really recognize it. So recognizing not only like synchronicity, your intuition, that's what's going to amplify it. So there are times too that I almost feel like there are no loved ones around me. And mind you, I'm a medium, right? I mean, they're like everywhere. I don't want to say that. I definitely have boundaries with them. But at the same time, there are times where I'm like, where are you? And I'll have various loved ones come forward, and they're like, we're here. We've been here, like what do you want? What do you need? And so with that, some of the reasons for that, one of the reasons for that, why I may not be noticing my loved ones is because I'm really not acknowledging them. And another thing with that, with Spirit in general, is that a lot of times they're waiting for us to ask. So I'm just putting that in there. They're waiting for us to ask. Okay. So what did I do? I was like, where in the world are they? So I asked, I said, where are you? Right. And like a couple of them, yeah, what do you need? And I'm like, oh, okay. And so a lot of times it's just that asking process. And so I wanted to throw that in there as well. And so with that synchronicity, with that intuition, we really need to acknowledge it. We need to acknowledge that things are happening. And I think, those of us who may have been on the path, maybe on the path, and we've been on the path for a while, we take some of it for granted. And that's what happened at church, was all of a sudden, like, it just heard a voice that said, Janie's coming with the flowers and you need to step aside. And I was like, oh, okay, and I just think, that doesn't happen to everybody. And so really we need to acknowledge it and thank spirit and thank our intuition and just really allow it to amplify more. So really I feel like that's first and foremost, is to acknowledge, you guys. So acknowledge what your intuition is talking to you. Acknowledge that spirit is all around you, and really amplify that. And even just share stories about times that where it was like perfect timing and all that stuff. Hi, Sarah. Wonderful to have you here. Mwah. So much light and love to you. So we're just talking about in trusting in spirit. It's almost like first and foremost, acknowledge, right? And gratitude goes a long way. And even those on the other side, or even your intuition, likes to have that gratitude, likes to hear like, oh gosh, thank you for that. And so I just think about being in church and just thinking, gosh, I needed to acknowledge, like, thank you for that information. So first and foremost is to acknowledge that it's there, okay? And acknowledge and amplify and have, just be grateful for it. And so, make that list. Be thinking about like, what were all the synchronistic things that happened to me today? What were the times that I followed my gut and things were really good? A lot of times when I'm running my errands, it's my time to test spirit. And test my intuition. And so I'll actually kind of ask like, so where should I go first? And I want the most efficient way. And so they might say, go to the grocery store, then go to the gas station, then go to the car wash. And sure enough, every place I go to, there's no lines. And I'm like, boom, right? And so then I need to acknowledge, oh, thank you so much, that type of thing. Right. Absolutely, Nichelle. I hear you. Are you sure? Yeah. Like, so countering, and just also kind of like doing the arguing. I argue, I counter. Those of you who have been working with me, that, especially the spiritual advising sessions, I'll be like, what? Are you sure? And I'm telling you guys, like, thought to thought, I'm actually countering with them right now. So in recognizing that, and I love that you brought that up, Nichelle, because I want to share this story that I'm going to tie in, for the remainder of the Facebook Live. So I use headphones, and I have to have a certain adapter for my phone. And I don't know, it's both, Aubrey. So I do hear spirit, and then it's also a feeling. Yeah. And however you take it in is perfect for you, and you can always heighten those other senses. Okay. So really, I feel like for a while I was feeling things, I think growing up, having my dad asking me, so what does your gut say? So I was almost like, taught how to feel, right? And then over time we can also heighten those other senses. So if you do have, if you are a feeler, you can get into that clairvoyant or the seeing mode, or the clairaudient, the hearing mode. So absolutely. And so this story, I went for a hike. I am almost like sheepish to even tell this story, but it's really good. It's good. I went for a hike with my dogs. I was like so irritated that day. I don't even know why, but I like slammed my door, and I don't even know why. I have no idea. I was just grouchy. And I start walking down this hill, and and then I think I was doing something on my phone, So at the very, very end of my journey, at the end of my hike, I realized that I lost my headphones with that special adapter, and I didn't have an adapter. And I have, so those of you who've had phone readings with me or spiritual advising sessions on the phone, I need to have my headphones, otherwise I'm going to have a crick in my neck having the phone like that the whole time. So I was just like, okay, I got to find this. So the next day I'm like, okay, I'm going to find these headphones. And I always call on my Joy Guide to help me find things. You can also call on there's saints that also help to find things. Your loved ones might. I also use Saint Augustine as another one that I help to find lost things. And so I go down my little ravine, and I go, Joy Guide said, go in behind the tree. So I go behind this tree, and a lot of times I'll go behind this tree because my dog likes to eat the berries right there. Okay. So anyway, so we go behind this tree because my dog likes to eat the berries, and then go on. And she showed me step by step of how I set my headphones down, right? And I look, and I'm like, not here. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, this is why people, like, I'm like countering with spirit. I'm just like, what? It's not here. And I start walking. I'm like, maybe it's at the top, da 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 da. And I was seriously like saying, this is why people have a hard time believing you. Like, this is what I'm like countering with spirit. Like, this is why they think, like, was that my ego or was that spirit? This is why right here, because you just directed me to behind this tree and it wasn't there. And I was so like just mad, right? So absolutely loves. Mwah. And so I went again to a couple more hikes. I went behind the tree, some more, nothing, right? And so anyway, this was a couple weeks ago, and I got a new adapter, I got new headphones, yada, yada, yada. Oh my gosh, you guys. And so I'm going to share more of like what happened in this whole scenario. I was voice texting actually, and I was going down the ravine, and my dog went behind the tree, wanted to eat the berries. And so I'm voice texting this gal, and all of a sudden I go, ha, 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 right? There were my headphones. Where were they? Exactly where Spirit said they were, right? A couple weeks ago. Exactly. And I was like, ha, 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 to the phone. And then I was like, and so I start writing like why I said, ha, ha, ha. I'm like, I lost my headphones a couple weeks ago and I just found them. And so I want to help you to see what exactly happened, right? First of all, I'll just share that with that, it was my mood for several days. I was just kind of irritated, right? And so it's okay to be irritated, go through the motions, do what you have to do. But then my radar wasn't exactly completely spot on. And so having that higher vibration thoughts, higher vibration, just the frequency of, being happier, be in that joyful state, believing, right? Believing. So I was just grouchy. I mean, we all get grouchy, right? Whatever, but at the same time, that clouded my radar for a little bit. So in recognizing that, also, I doubted, right? I was like, behind the tree, are you serious? My joy guide showed me exactly what happened and said it was behind the tree. What did I do? I second guessed her. Okay, my joy guide's name is Joy. And so I was just like, oh, really? So this is where it is. Okay, all right, yeah, okay. So I was already in a doubting phase. And so I wasn't trusting. And so it was exactly where she said it was. I just found it 2 weeks later, right? Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, what a story. I couldn't believe it. I found it this morning. I was like, really? So recognizing that we do need to get into that trust. So how do we get in that trust? We see certain signs, or, we are able to, almost like, I think what we do is we want proof. Okay. I feel like we want proof. And so even as my joy guide was saying, okay, your headphones are behind the tree right there where the dog eats the berries, and I'm like, really? And so with that, I was already kind of moving into what is known as the second thought phenomenon. Okay. So again, I feel like they're wanting me to reiterate, needing to acknowledge that we have synchronicity, acknowledge we have intuition, whatever you want to call it, an inner calling, spirit, acknowledge that, and then also to believe and to be in that higher frequency emotions and thoughts. Hi, Jackie. Wonderful to have you here. Yay. So recognizing that, and then also recognizing that if you do go into that second thought phenomenon, let me explain what that is. There's tools to not go there. Okay. So the second thought phenomenon is we get this intuitive hit and then we start analyzing it. We get this intuitive hit and then we second guess it. Oh, there's no way. What are you talking about? That kind of thing. And so that was my downfall with those headphones. And kind of sent me, I had to go to the store for a special, whatever, an extra trip, And it was because I went into the second thought. So that was another reason why I didn't get those headphones until 2 weeks later this morning. Right, exactly. So making sure that we're not going into that second thought, making sure we're not necessarily going into what people would say is ego. Okay. And so getting that intuitive hit and just taking action, just going for it. So hearing Joy Guide, I could see her showing me what I did that day and just being like, oh, okay, great. Thank you. Like that's all I needed to do. Right. And instead I went into second thought. And so recognizing that that's what we do. And so I really feel that with that as well, what's trying trying to stay within that intuitive hit and acknowledging each time it comes up, because it's going to amplify every time that you acknowledge it. Okay. So again, the second thought phenomenon is that we're going from this intuitive hit, spirit, and then we start questioning it. We start, analyzing it. Okay. So some of the things that spirit helps us to show that they're there for us, right? Again, if it's your intuition, that type of thing. Flickering lights, right? So those of us who have had flickering lights before, that is spirit, or that is, some type of intuitive hit showing us, hey, here's a sign, I'm here, please pay attention. What we can do with that is go into second thought, right? So, okay, I feel like I have to whisper this. So, my stepdaughter came in June, okay? Last June. She had to go on an emergency flight home back to Virginia. It was so sad. I saw her for all of 2 days, but I get to see her for Christmas, so that's really good. And so with that, oh my gosh, I have got to acknowledge this, Ashley. I have got to acknowledge this. I found my bag tonight. What? Huh? Girl. Okay. Can I tell this story first? Ashley. Okay. Ashley and I had a spiritual advising session this morning. She's been missing her bag for about a month, right? And we were talking about her assignment. We're talking about Ashley's assignment and whatnot. And all of a sudden her joy guide comes in and says, yeah, and maybe you'll find your bag. Right? Okay. That was our session this morning at what time? Like 10:30, right? 10:30 to 11:30, right? Boom. She found her bag. What? Joy guide, what? That's amazing. Boop, boop. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Ashley. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy for you. But just like you said, I checked there multiple times, just like the headphones. I checked multiple times, right? Oh my gosh. Oh my heck. I'm so happy for you, Ashley, first of all. And what the heck? We just had that session. That's amazing. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. My ears started ringing too. Okay, perfect, girl. Boom. Okay, you found it. I'm so happy for you. Yes, and recognizing, what happened in the meantime. And so I think that's really, really good, Ashley, like just for you to say, like, I've checked there multiple times, and recognizing like what was happening in that process. So my stepdaughter had to leave in June. And the reason why this is so sad, I think this is why it's so sad, is I'm kind of talking to the person that we're going to talk about in just a second. He's in spirit. It was one of her friends had committed suicide. 17 years old. Horrible. And I'm kind of doing thought to thought with him right now. Immediately when she found out, the lights in this room started flickering. Immediately, right? So sad. I know. Like, I think that's why I'm just like, I can tell this story, but then I'm like, this is hard, right? I mean, I'm feeling the grief. I'm feeling the sadness. I'm feeling those feelings, right? And so here she's reeling. She's trying to understand this, and the lights just keep flickering. The lights keep flickering, right? And I feel like that is Spirit's way of saying, I'm here. Not to worry, that kind of thing. The thing of it is that my stepdaughter, like she's very intuitive. I've done readings on her before. I've done Reiki on her before. She's so cute. In her psychology class, they started talking about being intuitive and having psychic abilities. And she raised her hand. She's like, yeah, someone told me that, or I went to a medium, I think she said, and she goes, and they told me that I have gifts too. I have psychic gifts too. And the teacher was like, what? I'm like, really? So she's pretty amazing. She's very, very intuitive. And so one reason, I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but one reason why the lights started flickering is because her and I both have gifts, right? And we were both in this house. And so Spirit comes to you through your gifts. We all have intuitive capabilities. They're going to come to you through your gifts. And a lot of times, people have said spirits are not able to come unless there's a medium there, right? So if you've had spiritual encounters, that means you're a medium, right? That means you're a conduit. And so her and I together were having those lights flicker. Okay, so here's the kicker. So the second thought was, what's wrong with the lights? What's wrong with the electricity, right? And recognizing that we needed to stay with that first thought. Yes, Hope, sweetie. Honey, that's good, girl. That's good. So there was a wasp. I think you said, yes, honey. Yeah, yeah. So recognizing that spirit is trying to give you signs. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely, Hope. Perfect. Thank you. And so other ways that I was going to share also, I love this. I love this. A lot of times I love working with you guys because there's those times where, I mean, there's so many of us that are so intuitive that people are saying things before I'm able to say them. I don't know if Holly's still here, but during our spiritual advising session, like she was on it. I was like, and then she would just say it. And I'm like, okay. So I hope that was a good segue. Animals. So being able to see in nature that spirit's all around us. And so that's what I'm moving into, is that spirit is giving us signs, okay? And to really recognize the signs. And spirit animals, I mean, and you just think those that are like solo. So this fella I did a reading for on Saturday. Oh, my heart breaks for him. He's lost 2 best friends and 4 childhood friends, all within like a couple years. Like, I'm like, oh. And he said that after his best friend had passed, he went for a hike, and him and his best friend would always go for hikes. And he saw an owl. And I said, yes, there's your sign. There's your sign. And so we need to acknowledge, you guys. We need to acknowledge. I know. And that was hard. So sometimes oh goodness, I know. And I think the solace I have is that they're on the other side, right? They're on the other side, right? So yeah, so being able to see that synchronicity, yes, exactly. Like, what are spirit animals, etc. And what's their meaning? So really truly being able to trust in spirit. And so with that, having those intuitive hits, having, the lights, and recognizing that spirit's coming to us in those intuitive hits, the lights are flickering, spirit animals are coming, the triple numbers. Even if you're seeing a number like, 512 over and over and over. Look that up in the angel meanings, because spirit is trying to get your attention. For me, I also get taps on the wall. So for some of you have been in person with me, I'm like, tap, thank you, tap, thank you. And sometimes I ignore them, but it just gives me, confirmation that spirit's around. And I just remember doubting at one point, like just being like, I heard a tap and I was just like, probably the plumbing, right? And then I have this dear friend named Joel. He passed in his early 30s from cancer, and he came in, he goes, oh, we're going to do that again. And I'm like, so sometimes they call you on it too. But at the same time, I started immediately going into second thought. So recognizing for us to not necessarily go into second thought. You hear whispers, perhaps at night, not to necessarily be like, oh, it's probably the tree scratching the window. Recognizing it really is spirit. Like, you hear the voice, your first thought is, this is spirit. You see a shadow, right? Oh, it's probably the car just outside, right? Kind of thing. No, it's a shadow from spirit, So really recognizing that, like right from the get-go, what you think. So the flickering lights in this room, that's what I was kind of asking him. I was asking him, like, are you going to flicker the lights like on this live? That would be really cool. Yeah. So Jacqueline, yeah, seeing 911 and 711 much more lately. Yeah, absolutely. So look those up. So helpful, so helpful. So Paulette, she's been seeing these repeating numbers so much more these days. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And also recognizing that perhaps some of the ways that I'm gleaning spirit, you all are going to, also glean too, because we're exchanging gifts, right? So, Paulette is seeing these repeating numbers, almost like she's sharing the gift with all of you. Like, here you go. Okay, my my diffuser just went bloop. So that happens too, okay? I'll get bubbles in the diffuser. It'll like go bloop, and that's a sign for me from spirit. And then also in my humidifier. And one time the humidifier, this is crazy. It wasn't on. It wasn't plugged in, right? And all of a sudden it went bloop, like that. And this was awesome, because I like looked over at my husband and he looked at me and I go, what was that? And he goes, the humidifier. I'm like, It was spirit, right? Okay. So just recognizing that too. Hey, maybe your diffuser is going to start bubbling. Hey, maybe your humidifier is going to start doing that. The whisper of spirit, Peggy, right? Right. I do too. It's just like, oh, you're here, right? Perfect. Seeing 555 more, right? Absolutely. Yay. So April. So yeah. So you've heard, one in your ear and you felt one brush your cheek, and you just think about how close your ear and your cheek are, right? I mean, wow, it could be just maybe the same one trying to come in to you, right? And I am feeling it's somebody very, very, very close, like a loved one of yours that you knew in this lifetime. Yeah. And so just being like, this is it, this is what it is. This is spirit. So again, recognizing we need to acknowledge and then also not go into the second thought. Okay, Mindy, perfect. So you're thinking about your mom, you start having issues with your throat. You're acknowledging and recognizing it's her, but what is she telling me? So with that, you're needing to ask her that in some way, shape, or form. Yes, she's coming to you with throat issues. Spirit tends to do that also. So those of you who've had a reading with me, you can tell there are times where I'll just start, I'm going to go ahead and channel Feisty Grandma because she's my favorite. So all of a sudden my throat will start really, she just hit me. She didn't hit me. She just kind of like brushed me. It was cute. She's like, I did not hit you. I just heard it. But I love channeling her though, because I just love how gravelly her voice gets. So I know she's here. And so with that, Mindy, I'm just feeling like, then we ask, like, what is she helping me, or what does she want me to know? And so we can do this through automatic writing. We can ask her like in signs, like, what is she trying to tell me? Maybe, oh gosh, I'm just throwing this out there, but maybe on the billboard you see like a photo album and you're like, oh, maybe mom wants me to look at my photo albums. So being able to do that, like just to ask and then to see what transpires. Okay, so Paul, it's okay. Okay, when your keys are out of the ignition, that's the best part, right? When electricity is going, when stuff is happening and you're like, hands off. That wasn't me. Right? And that's like, a lot of times I'll say, you cannot make this up. And I also throw a swear word in there too sometimes. You cannot make this up, right? Okay, you can't make this shit up. You can't. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says that. So you can't make this up. Like really, like stuff like, really? You just think, gosh, that's spirit right there. That's happening. That's truly, truly happening. And so recognizing too that, you're welcome, Mindy. You're welcome, sweetie. Just recognizing that, that the majority of I just feel like the majority of people out there, they're getting these intuitive hits and they're going on with their day. Boom. They're just kind of like going on. And so recognizing that, like just recognizing that you all are recognizing it. You're acknowledging it. This is happening to you. And so then moving into like that trust, and so, I already had shared, like, you get this intuitive hit or spirit flickers the lights or whatever that is, and recognizing, like, you can go ahead and you can be like, boom, this is spirit, or boom, this is what I need to do. I like that Nichelle said, I keep saying boom because I say boom, boom, pow. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. I love that. And so, yet sometimes it's hard not to go to the second thought, right? I mean, it just is. Like, even with the headphones, I was like, whatevs, and there they were this morning. I couldn't believe it. I'm sure that's happened to you guys before. We were just like, what? So a few different ways you can trust in spirit. Okay. So for me, I've asked, I'll ask for affirmation or confirmation. And for me, that taps on the walls. Like that gives me that confirmation. Oh, okay. It is true, legit. I'm getting this information. So perfect. Oh, this is so fun, you guys. I love this. Yeah. Keep sharing, the comments. I see shadows occasionally. I always wonder who the shadow belongs to. So perfect, Brenda. So just recognizing, who's here, right? Whose shadow is this, right? Perfect, right? I love that. I have like butterflies because it's fun, just to talk about this. It was only one. Was that all sudden the radio came on? Perfect, Peggy, right, honey? Yeah, like this stuff is happening. Like when electricity happens, you know, when, and there's no explanation. I have my uncles in spirit, my Uncle Billy. He's super good with the pennies and the dimes. Okay. So that would be another kind of sign from spirit to be able to trust in spirit, you know? And so with trusting in spirit, for me, I'm like, I want the confirmation taps. And I'm not even sure where that started. It was just something that started happening. And I think what it was, I'm just asking, it was during my automatic writing. And I just remember having a second thought then, and there was a tap on the wall. And then I was like, is that confirmation? Yes. Tap again. I'm like, okay, lots of taps. I believe. So for me, you know, that's something that kind of came through. And for you, it could be other things as well. Like, you know, you could get confirmation, like April was saying, like that brush on her cheek. You know, what if that happens more and more? She acknowledged it. And so now she's, you know, maybe amplifying that. So same with, so my grandma, who's in spirit besides feisty grandma, she didn't hit me. She's like, I didn't hit you. Like, I know, you just touched me. Sorry. She cracks me up. But my other grandma, like, she comes in and kisses me right there. And so that one also, is a sign, right? And a lot of times she comes in when I'm like fretting or nervous or that kind of thing. And she's all of a sudden I feel this kiss right there. And I'm like, oh, okay. I won't be nervous anymore. And so just recognizing that I wish you could see this. Cause like my grandma just tapped me again here. She's always on my left side. Feisty grandma is. And so that's confirmation as well. She's like, I want some credit over here. Like I give you stuff all the time. I'm like, okay, yeah. So recognizing that as well. So recognizing that you, like April, you may start getting more of that, you know? And then, pendulum. So I have pendulum in my hand. So just, being able to just ask. So when I started doing this whole thing with errands and trying to figure out like which errand did I need to do first, you know? Sorry. You can tell somebody's coming in. With that, I would ask pendulum. So should I go to the car wash first? Yes. Should I go to the, yes. Oh, okay. Exactly what my intuition said. Yes. Oh, okay. It'll be easier next time not to use a pendulum, you know, but that's okay. Like use the pendulum as long as you need to. Oh, did you see that? That was clever. That was clever, Grandma. And so recognize that you can use these tools. And oh, bye, Michelle. Yay. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just seeing all this now. Recognizing that you can double check. If you're feeling like, if you're going to jump to second thought, that's okay. Just double check. Whoa. Oh, honey, did you find it on the counter? The rest of your message cut out, but I'm guessing you did. What? Then they move things. Spirit moves things, right? Oh, goodness gracious. And Peggy, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that, Sarah. Oh gosh, I'm just catching up. Your husband was sound asleep, Peggy. He heard knocking on the door. He got up to answer the door and nobody was there. Then it became very real to him. Yeah, absolutely. Isn't that cool? Right? Like when the humidifier went, I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, what was that? Right? Okay, so dishes will rattle in the dish drainer. Boom, right? A pan will fall off a nightstand in the next room. Yeah, a pen will fall. Yes, Carly, good girl. It's happening, right? It's happening. So good. Oh, yay. Perfect, right? So our grandma, yeah, Nichelle, yeah, just being able to be present. And I feel like too, some of you others have, you know, your grandmas come in a certain way. Smells are a big thing with grandmas, I noticed, like their perfumes and whatnot. They like to come in like that, like fragrant. Oh, sweetie. Mwah. Blessings to you, Nichelle. Thank you for being here. Dang it. Right. And so coming to that trust in spirit. So really, truly trusting. So again, kind of to reiterate, it's happening all the time, right? It's happening all the time. And we just need to acknowledge it. Look at that synchronicity. Look at what's happening, you know? And I loved some of your stories, you know, sharing like Paulette, like I didn't have my key in the ignition, you know? And then do you see that? She keeps coming in. And you know, just some of the other stories like Carly. Yeah, exactly. Like the dish strainer, you know, Nichelle, my grandma brings me roses, you know, they're just trying to give us signs. And so recognizing that, acknowledging that, and knowing that it's going to amplify if you do acknowledge it. Yeah, absolutely, Jacqueline. Good girl. Good girl. You're on fire, girl. Jacqueline's amazing. Yeah, sounds like there's footsteps. Footsteps, they like to do that. Upstairs apartment. Yeah, so it must be spirit. Absolutely. Right? You should, Brenda, girlfriend. Yes, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And and so it's interesting that for both Ashley and myself, our joy guides helped us to find that, right? Ashley found her bag. I found my headphones, right? Because they are tricksters, right? And now that's another one of my confirmations is they have me itch my nose or on the nose. So, right? Okay. So you're totally right on track, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's good. That's so good. So recognizing, to trust in spirit. If, maybe you get this intuitive hit and you're like, was it? Kind of thing. Go ahead and grab Pendulum and see. Yeah, sure enough, that was spirit. There was footsteps. Okay, that was spirit, Who was the shadow? Like, Brenda, you can ask, who was the shadow with Pendulum? Was it grandpa? Yes. Was it dad? No. Was it mom? No. Was it grandpa? Yeah. Okay, it was grandpa. That kind of thing. So just recognizing you can get that confirmation from spirit. Also, a lot of times people ask like I saw the triple numbers, or I saw a spirit animal, or I saw a sign, I saw a penny or a dime or that kind of thing. And what does it mean? Okay. So recognizing that, one, it's spirit, right? Acknowledging it. And then also acknowledging a lot of times, what your thought was, what your thought was. So what your thought was prior to you looking at, or prior to you seeing the spirit animal, prior to you looking at the clock and it's 555, and recognizing that they're little eavesdroppers into our thoughts too, little stinkers, huh? And so just to recognize that as well. So if you're getting signs and they seem haphazard, go ahead and look at your thoughts, like what is this exactly? So I feel like that's the long and short of it for trusting in spirit that I have for this evening. And what I love about this is that I looked at my watch and it's 7:48 Mountain Standard Time, but I'm from Wisconsin, and so I always look at my watch, not always, but I look at my watch and then I think, oh, what time is it in Wisconsin? I just do that, and so it's an hour ahead, so it's 8:48. So Joel's address, my friend who's in spirit, was 8:48. So it's so cute because I was just like, what time is it, right? And then he was showing me that sign. It's 8:48. And so, isn't that funny? So I like automatically convert time because I'm just like, what are my parents doing, And so he's from Wisconsin, and so he went 8:48, right? So that would be the conversion. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or any other stories, I would love to hear them. Hugs to you, beautiful Teresa. But yeah, that's the long and short of it. So again, just to make sure you're acknowledging, amplifying, and recognizing if you go to second thought, go ahead and, pick up your tools, your pendulum, recognize that you can trust in spirit, recognize, you can even ask for certain signs so that you do have that validation, that confirmation from spirit, from your intuition, from your gut, from your inner voice. So yay. So wonderful to have you here. And I'm almost like feeling like somebody did write a comment and I just can't see it or something like that. But again, just sending you such incredible light and love, and I would absolutely love to be in any and all of your energies one-on-one. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I love our groups, and then it's so fun to get one-on-one with you guys. I'm like, yeah, I love that too. So have a wonderful night, have a wonderful evening, and trust in spirit. You got this. Okay, so much light and love to you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Take care.